The objective of this training is to explain how to use 3D Experience CATIA piping 3D design application. This training will be composed of multiple courses, and each course will be split in different videos. In this first course, we will have first an overview of pipe 3D routing with an introduction of the different 3D manipulators. This will be the purpose of this video. And two other videos, one which will describe in detail all the different methods to define the first node of a pipe, and another video in which we will enter in all the detail of the routing options. Before entering into the detail, let's have a quick overview about the different steps to create a pipe. First, we access to the Piping and Tubing 3D Design application. At the first time you access to this application, the system is proposing you to preload inside the memory the piping specification, which contain all the design rules and the standard components for the different disciplines, piping, HVAC, and raceway. In our case, we are not going to work with the specification, so we just close this panel. Two other panels are also available, the application option which is not used, and the data information panel that we can dock inside the right side. This data information panel gives you some information about some elements that you are going to select and the context linked to the system you are going to route. In our case, as I was mentioning before, we are not going to work with a design rule, so we just select no specification and we will be able to route in a free mode the pipe. Let's access to the Fluid Design tab of the action bar. To create a pipe, we just have to click on this icon, Create Route. The creation of the route is done in different steps. The first step consists of selecting the first node. You have different methods, so in our case, the quickest way is to create a point, for example, at the origin 0, 0, 0. From this point, after, the system is proposing you some pre-defined direction that you can use to follow to create the first segment. The manipulation mode that is used is the length manipulator. So length manipulator allows you to create a segment on a direction. When the first segment is created, then to create a second segment, you just select again the direction that you want to follow, and you just drag and drop the node, the white node, which consists of creating a new node, a new point. If you want to create a new point, then you drag and drop this white node. So then you will have one node there, and another node here. At any moment, you can do a Ctrl-Z to come back, and you can reselect the last point to redisplay the manipulator. So depending where you click on the pipe, the manipulator will be displayed differently, and the option that will be available will be also different. As an example, if I click close to the pipe extremity, I will have the manipulator oriented in that way with the green arrow indicated that the point will be created after the point. If I select the node, a portion of the pipe which is close to this node but on the left side, so the manipulator will be placed in the way that the system will create a node after this segment. So I have clicked on this segment here close to the node, so the next node will be created on this segment. If I click on the other side, on the other segment, it is the manipulator will be oriented by default in the other direction. Of course, at any moment you can reswitch from one to the other. If you select the middle of the segment, you will have some option for manipulating the segment itself. So I'm not going to detail those capabilities. We will see that in another video. If you want to move the extremity of this segment without creating a new node, you can drag and drop this manipulator, or you can press spacebar to edit the ruler and to enter a fixed value. the geometrical information of the pipe is displayed inside the data information panel under the geometrical information section. So you can change at any moment the size of your pipe, because we are working in a non-standard way. And you can change also the main radius. If you want to continue the pipe, you just reselect the last node and you can continue the pipe and select the dashed line that pre-indicate the direction to follow and continue to create a new point. If you don't want to respect those direction, the normal direction, then you can access to the orientation manipulation. So this manipulator is composed on three portions. The length manipulator, which allows you to manage the length of the segment. The bend manipulator, who allows you to control the bend and the angle, their function to move the node. And the orientation manipulator that allows you to control the direction of the pipe in a plane which is normal to the previous segment. So you can at any moment just drag and drop this manipulator, or you can press spacebar also to fix the value. Of course, you can combine the different manipulator by selecting again the bend, and from the bend you can change also the angle for this bend angle for 45 degrees, for example. When you are satisfied with this direction, you can just drag and drop to create a new point. Sometimes the selection of the manipulator, the different part of the manipulator, is not very easy, and in that case you could directly use the A key of the keyboard to switch from one and the other. You will see that for each manipulator, the option panel is changing with various possible options. Some are common to all of them, like the orientation mode, and some are specific, like slope, for example. When you would like to not see anymore the manipulator, you can just press escape, and then you don't display anymore those manipulators. If you want to extend the pipe length on this side, you'd select it. You switch to the length manipulator, press A, press spacebar to edit the ruler, and enter the value. The coordinate of the node can be also accessible through the node table. The node table panel can be placed at any position inside your windows. You can resize the panel like that, or you can dock it on the top of the window, on the left side of the window, on the bottom side of this panel, for example, or you can place it separately close to the data information panel. So you can organize this panel according to your preferences, and this will be stored inside your CAD settings. So the coordinate can be displayed either in the global axis system of your product, or they can be also displayed in a local mode. By doing that, you can control easily also the node coordinate, and you can adjust it manually by just editing the value. When selecting the node, the green arrow indicates in which direction the new point is going to be created if you drag and drop the white node for creating a new node. In our case, the direction in this one, it means that the point will be created after the bend. If I invert, it means that the new point here is going to be created after the selected node. Something like that. Or if I am in this configuration, something like that. To delete a node, you can just select the point, the node, and press delete. If you want to create an orthogonal routing between those 2 points, you select the segment and press orthogonal routing. When your pipe is finished, you can just click Exit Route to validate the tube. Now you are able to create a new pipe, or if you want to modify the existing one, you just double click on this pipe and select the node that you want to modify. Remember that when you modify a pipe, the modification that you are going to do depends on the manipulator that is active and with the different option which is proposed by this manipulator. Length manipulator to increase the length of the pipe along a direction. The bend manipulation, which allows you to modify the bend or create some new point along a surface, or to move a node also. And the orientation manipulation, to change the orientation of the segment or to define the orientation for the next segment. The visualization of the manipulator could be customized thanks to this command, and you can parameterize the color of the manipulator, the size of the manipulator, and the color of the dash line. For example, when by default the color of the manipulator is white, and in my case I have changed it to purple. Then it allows me to have a better visualization in case of the background is white, and then the manipulator is much more easy to visualize. So we have seen the basic function to create a tube in the free space. Let's see now some additional command that allows you to create a tube in context of existing geometry. So I'm going to start by the creation of a new pipe. I'm going to create a new point in this location. So let's start from here, from this point, and we start by creating a first segment as we have seen previously. In the length manipulator, at any moment I can decide to stop until a geometrical element. It could be a pipe, it could be a plane, it could be a surface, any kind of geometry. You just have to select this geometry and the ruler will be displayed according to this geometry. So by default, here I'm using the center offset alignment with 0 offset. It is why the two elements are aligned. If I change it and I change the center offset, in that case the system will continue up to the 100 mm after. If you want to change the offset side, the offset could be also controlled based on the side of the pipe. So you could decide to use the side of the pipe, and you can invert by pressing Shift to have the different position with this 0 offset. So border right of this pipe with border left of this pipe. If I press Shift, it's border left of this pipe with border right of this one. If I press the other Shift, it's border right of this plane of this pipe with border right of this one, and border left of this pipe with border left of this one. So you have 4 positions, and you can switch from each of them using the Shift key. Of course, at any moment, if you would like to reposition this with an approximative location, you can just drag and drop the manipulator to place it somewhere else, and you can reselect another element, for example this one. Okay. So if I would like to align with this axis from this pipe, I select pipe axis, I select this element. So very simple, length manipulator for alignment. This context selection is also available when I'm going to use the orientation manipulator. So if I switch to the orientation manipulator with the AK orientation manipulator, I can preset this orientation according an existing segment. So if I want to be parallel to this segment, I select this one. If I want to be vertical, I select this one. If I would like to be horizontal, this one. And then I can just create a new point. if I would like to relimit this pipe up to this elevation, I just press A to come back to the length manipulator, which allows me to control the length of the segment, and I'm just reselecting another element to align with. With this, because I'm not orthogonal, there is different position of calculation for the intersection. In my case, I'm going to select this one. From this point, then you can continue the routing following this direction. If you want to align with an element which is a portion of the same pipe, in that case, you must press the W key on your keyboard. You keep it pressed and you select the element on which you want to align. So then, if I want to follow, let's imagine I modify this node. So just remember, to modify a node, I switch, for example, to the bend manipulator. I use the move root node. I drag and drop this element. And now, if the next segment that I would like to create, I would like to follow this direction, I switch to the orientation manipulator to define the orientation for the next segment. I press W and the segment at the same time. Then I can route a pipe following a portion, a segment which is a portion of the same pipe. If the element to follow is an element which is not part of the ongoing tube, then you can just select the element to align with. No need to press the W. Okay. When you use the length manipulator, the dash lines are aligned according an option which is set here. By default, it is the orientation which is given by the plane. The dash lines are computed according to the plane which is composed by the two last segments. If you want to come back to the general orientation of the product, you just select global orientation, like this one, and you can continue your routing. If you want to be in a very specific direction, you can drag and drop your robot on any element and select the robot alignment to compute the dash line according to this position of the robot. At any moment also, you can press the V button and the system will create directly a point without having to drag and drop the white point. This length is hard-coded by default and is a factor of the diameter of your pipe. I think it's 4 times the diameter. So again, you can delete the point one by one if you want to go back, or press Ctrl Z to re-undo. And you can exit from the pipe creation when it's finished. To delete an object, you just select first the part selection mode here, and then either the object in 3D or inside the tree, and click on the special delete of piping. We have seen here the basic of the creation and the different steps of the creation of the pipe. In the next video of this course 1, we are going to see all the different methods that is possible to use to create the first node of a pipe.